China warned Britain to step back from the brink after Boris Johnson vowed to offer a path to citizenship for up to 3 million Hong Kong residents threatened by Beijing's draconian new security law. Britain has no sovereignty, no jurisdiction, and no supervision over Hong Kong, Beijing warned, adding that the Prime Minister must immediately stop interfering in Hong Kong's affairs and China's internal affairs, but this will definitely backfire. The response came after Mr. Johnson promised to allow holders of British national, overseas, passports in Hong Kong the right to seek a permanent life in the UK. The offer extended not only to 350,000 present holders but 2.5 million more who are eligible. Joshua Wong, the territory's most prominent pro-democracy leader, said that Mr. Johnson's promise should be accompanied with sanctions on Chinese technology companies and supporters of Beijing. Carrie Lam, Hong Kong's pro-Beijing chief executive, accused Britain of blatant double standards for opposing a law that China claims is necessary to restore order after months of protests it claims are motivated by separatism. She said Beijing would not reconsider the measure, expected to be enacted before the end of August. Critics say the law, which would allow Chinese secret police near free rein, in effect ends the one country, two systems of semi-autonomy that Beijing promised at the 1997 handover. In a move likely to infuriate ministers in London, British banks HSBC and Standard Chartered backed the new law. Mr. Wong, 23, has been at the forefront of the protest movement in recent years. He welcomed Mr. Johnson's announcement, but said that the British government's offer to relax restrictions on almost 3 million people classed as British nationals overseas to enable them to seek British citizenship was not enough. He called for more concrete and immediate action to deter Beijing from its plans to impose a national security law that many people in the territory fear will mean the end of its autonomy and civil liberties. Providing citizenship will be really supportive and will encourage Hong Kong people at such a difficult time, but more important, actions speak louder than words, Mr. Wong said yesterday. Apart from what was announced by Boris Johnson, partial economic sanctions should be targeted against companies related to technology or any pro-Beijing politician who might have family members who are UK passport holders. Let Beijing realize that the world will not just issue statements, they will really take action to put pressure on Beijing. In an escalation of the confrontation with China, Mr. Johnson made the offer of an alternative to repression, a matter of British honor. The Prime Minister said that the imposition of the national security law in Hong Kong would dramatically erode its autonomy and breach the terms of its treaty with the UK. Britain would then have no choice but to uphold our profound ties of history and friendship with the people of Hong Kong, he wrote in the Times yesterday. Today, about 350,000 of the territory's people hold British national, overseas, passports, and another 2.5 million would be eligible to apply for them. At present, these passports allow visa-free access to the United Kingdom for up to 6 months. If China imposes its national security law, the British government will change our immigration rules and allow any holder of these passports from Hong Kong to come to the UK for a renewable period of 12 months and be given further immigration rights, including the right to work, which could place them on a route to citizenship. Emily Lau, former leader of the Hong Kong Democratic Party, questioned Mr. Johnson's promise and demanded full citizenship or right of abode be extended to Hong Kong's British-era residents and their descendants. The offer of allowing them to come to the UK for a renewable period of 12 months gives little assurance, she writes in a letter to the Times published today. They continue to feel abandoned. Ms. Lau recalled asking Margaret Thatcher at the signing of the Sino-British Joint Declaration in 1984 whether handing over 5 million Hong Kong people into the hands of a communist dictatorship was morally defensible. She added, 36 years later, my worst fear is coming to pass. Mr. Johnson yesterday insisted that Britain would seek a friendly, clear-eyed relationship with China. I want to stress one thing, I am a Sinophile, he said. I think China is an incredible country and an extraordinary civilization. He said the proposal was the right thing to do. Most Hong Kong residents do not wish to emigrate to a third country but to preserve their freedoms at home. Those born after the 1997 handover are ineligible for BNO status, meaning that the offer would cover few of the young protesters with most to fear from Beijing. Few people have more to lose from the new security law than Mr. Wong. He has been active in Hong Kong's politics for 10 years, repeatedly arrested and sent to prison 3 times. He was born 6 months before handover but was never registered for BNO status by his parents, so is now ineligible. He said, however, that even if he were able to, he would not abandon the pro-democracy struggle and move to Britain. Many now seeking to renew their BNO passports told the Times that they had no immediate plans to emigrate but wanted to have a backup plan. Yesterday, a British university lecturer in Hong Kong said that he had countersigned more than 20 passport applications since May 21, when the new law was announced, up from a dozen in the whole of last year. He called Mr. Johnson's plan a step in the right direction but said that it needed to include young protesters without BNO status and exclude pro-China agitators who could exploit it.